Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So earlier today, Forbes actually released their valuations of 2020 for some of the biggest esports organizations of the world. In this video today, we're going to be running through these tweets from the Esports Observer talking about the top 10 list here. We have the total valuations for the top 10 teams, the estimated revenue, and then there's even some percentages of how much revenue actually comes from esports and stuff on this list as well, which is kind of interesting to talk about. Now I'll just give kind of my thoughts and opinions on the list because it's some really interesting stuff. But before we get into that, I just want to mention real quick, if you're not already subscribed, definitely click that subscribe button really quick. It's fast, it's free, it's easy, it helps you guys stay up to date on all the latest content, and it helps me out a ton as well. I'm trying to reach 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That would be awesome. If you guys could help me get there, I would appreciate it. But here we go. The top 10 list coming from Forbes. At number 10, we have T1, $150 million with an estimated revenue of $15 million. This is obviously a team that's been wildly successful over in Korea. They are now a North American organization under new ownership. They have an absolutely massive brand. Obviously, they've come up a lot in League of Legends, but now they're starting to branch out into other game stuff. They're having a ton of success. They're having, they have an absolutely massive fan base worldwide. Maybe they're struggling a little bit kind of getting that, combination of Korean and North American stuff, bringing it all together. But obviously they're doing pretty good, worth an estimated $150 million. But obviously with the revenue like $15 million, that's pretty crazy. Next up, we have NRG, $155 million estimated revenue at 20. We have G2, our first EU team. Well, We Are Enthusiasts. They are more of like a talent agency. They actually own Luminosity. They have an estimated revenue of $95 million, but they're not straight in esports as much as some of these other teams are. We got Gen G at $185 million, 100 Thieves at $190, and then the top four is where there's some big discrepancies. You see $190 million estimated and $305 million estimated for FaZe Clan. Part of that is obviously they have a much higher revenue, pretty crazy revenue when compared to like 100 Thieves. But FaZe Clan is doing so many good things that are just really pushing the boundaries in esports. Obviously they have like a kind of like a lifestyle brand, and they're in a bunch of games, and they're doing good. The only thing that kind of sucks for them is that they're not in League of Legends, which is just absolutely massive right now. And as you can see, the top three teams on the list are all huge in League of Legends, and that's where a lot of people are projecting the big money, the growth, and the success in the future, with Team Liquid at $310 million, Cloud9 at $350 million, and number one, TSM at $410 million with $45 million of estimated revenue. It does say that TSM gets about 50% of their revenue from esports stuff, so they do have a nice business going on surrounding TSM that's not all just coming in from their gaming, like how their esports are performing. So that's awesome. They've done a great job building up their brand. But again, as you can see, the top three teams, 4 of the top 5 are big in League of Legends. That is where the money is. That is where the future projections are. But obviously, a lot of this stuff isn't lining up as far as like actually the estimated revenues. The fact that a lot of these teams are losing money right now, and so some of these valuations are really overinflated, really crazy. And it's just because people think esports is the future. People see how much young people, millennials and younger Zoomers love video games, how much they love esports, how much they show up for these games. The viewership is insane. They sell out massive stadiums. They're, Twitch viewership's crazy. YouTube, content creation. How many people play these games, love these games? They buy the merch. They show all out. And it seems like kind of how sports are going to be going for the future. It seems like the entertainment of the future. But there are some problems. They really are struggling on how to monetize it, how to keep the costs down, because owning a team, running a successful esports organization is very tough. You have living costs for all the players, housing, the insane, budget of computers and all that stuff. And you have rising player salaries, and if you don't keep up, if you don't have the best players, if you're not performing at the top, then it's tough to get fans, it's tough to sell merch, it's tough to create content. So you have rising costs of player salaries and stuff just to even compete. So many things going on. There's also so many different games sprouting up all the time. You have to decide what games are we going to pay for, what games are we not, what games do we want to have teams for, what games do we want to have content creators for, and you have to pay all those people. And it's tough to bring money in. On the internet, ad block is a big thing. That's going to cut into money. Right now with Corona going on, obviously the leagues and stuff can't even sell like tickets for everything, but obviously they make a lot of money from their streaming. But traditional sports make a lot of their money from big broadcasting deals, and esports haven't been able to get those yet. They're trying to bring in sponsors, talk them into that. But again, for a lot of these teams, when they're losing money year over year, even like teams that are making $20 million, 95, or not this team, but if they're making $16 million, $14 million, but they're losing money, it's tough to bring on more investors. It's tough to get more people to want to invest with your team and grow it. But obviously, as you can see, esports is legit. When you have a team valued at like $410 million, it's insane. Something's there. But again, it's a lot of speculation right now. There's a lot of people throwing crazy amounts of money at this. I do think right now the valuations are probably a little high on everything. You still see, I mean, people are paying what? $10-20 million for spots in the Overwatch League, for spots in Call of Duty League, stuff like that. Like, there's no way they're seeing a return on investment in that. It's all looking forward towards the future. It's all if esports blows up, if we sign these big, streaming deals, these big broadcast deals, if the money does go there in the future. Maybe once millennials get a little older, once they have more money, once Zoomers kind of get older, get a little bit more money, they can, support our organizations more. But right now, this stuff isn't here. So yes, these valuations are crazy. They're absolutely insane. It's awesome to see. Obviously, I love esports, love video games, think it is the future, but it is kind of risky. A lot of these guys, a lot of the investment stuff, they are taking a big risk. And I like what the teams are doing for the most part. Like, I love these, obviously, Liquid is spending a ton of money. They have this huge, crazy facility. TSM just built this huge, crazy facility. They're signing guys for $6 million. And people say it sounds crazy and they say they don't have the money. But then you see that TSM's worth $410 million estimated. But that doesn't mean they have $410 million sitting there ready to go to spend on people. That's just a valuation estimate between the brand, their assets, and all that stuff. So it's all really hard. It's really complicated. But this is Forbes' perspective. This is how they rank them. They have, they put out their valuations. It's pretty interesting. It makes headlines. It's good for esports to get these valuations out there because it gets people talking. It gets people interested in the field, in all of that. And that's always a good thing. But again, I wouldn't read into this stuff too much because in the end, I think it is pretty meaningless. But it is kind of interesting. It is interesting to see what, some serious business people think about the esports landscape, all the different teams, organizations. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't read too much into the valuations because, again, if esports does blow up, these companies are all going to explode. Like TSM, if they are the biggest, esports company in the future and esports becomes this massive mainstream thing, especially in the United States and all over the world, then TSM is going to, if they can get to the level of like a professional sports league in North America, those teams are worth billions and, they can continue to grow. But if the issues that are plaguing esports right now, like struggling to monetize, struggling to become mainstream, struggling to keep relevancy when you have games coming and going in popularity, all that stuff, that's part of what makes League of Legends esports so exciting and enticing for people like this because they have such a solid franchise. The game has stood the test of time. It's so consistent. But games like Fortnite that come up in huge popularity, struggle to make an esport, and then kind of fall off in popularity, that's tough to build something for the future. That's tough to grow with. Where something like football, that's a game that's going to be played for hundreds of years and it's going to be consistent. It's easy to build around and grow a fan base and start making money. So yeah, esports has a lot of troubles ahead. They have a lot of problems ahead, and we could very well be in the midst of like an esports type bubble, something like that, especially with a lot of speculative valuations and salaries and all that stuff going on. I mean, we just saw LCS salaries double this offseason. People already thought they were crazy. Then they doubled in just one offseason. That doesn't sound right to me. That doesn't sound normal. And that doesn't sound right to a lot of people either. But again, if they can figure this all out, it's all going to be very, very worth it for a lot of these teams and companies. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about all this stuff? Do you think these valuations make sense? Do you think they're crazy? Do you think esports is the future? Do you think, were you surprised by any of these numbers? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to update on the latest content. Check me out over at Twitch, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.